So the Microsoft mobile market though has died off. Microsoft had Nokia as their phones for a while, and they had Windows phones. They did not sell, and so now they gave up on that.
So most phones are made by third parties, not those main big brands. Like Google has the Pixel line now,
Mm-hmm.
and Apple, of course, has the iPhone line.
Yeah.
But most other phones are made by third party brands. I was going to ask back to that the OLED versus, I guess, what I have is a Pixel. So
Mm-hmm.
what is this one? Do you know?
The Pixel?
Mm-hmm.
The Pixel, I believe, is the OLED.
And that is such that those pixels just aren't even, so like your phone right now, the
Mm-hmm.
screen is black, but it's got like the time, the date, the weather,
Yeah.
yeah, it's got a few notifications and the battery percent, and those are the only pixels.
Those are the only ones that are turned on right now.
The rest, because it's OLED, those can just rest.
Yeah,
It's
those
as
can
if
be off. But with
okay.
LCD version of phones, when it has a system like that, it's either the whole screen is on or the whole screen is off. You didn't have individual pixels that could be turned on at will.
That is neat.
And so with the phones being being made into by third parties, so it is and isn't. It's a very interesting system the way phones work. They Google originally had its line, which used to be called the Nexus line. Uh, it had third-party contractors make them. So I believe like the first Nexus was Motorola, um, or and then eventually HTC. They contracted out, and then Google eventually bought HTC, and now it acquired all the assets and now is making Pixels themselves. Apple has always built their own phone themselves, but it's still getting its parts from other places. So I think the newest iPhone, the iPhone 10, and it has a Samsung processor and a Samsung screen in there, and which has caused problems in the past because Apple has used Samsung parts in a lot of their phones, almost all of them, and there was like lawsuits involved, thinking that Samsung was using the parts that they contracted for Apple as part of their own parts or designs and stuff like that, because Samsung has their own line of the Galaxies.
Which, okay, so I've only had a handful of smartphones.
Mm-hmm.
I had it was a Galaxy?
Yeah. Yeah, the
Galaxy
Galaxy
3 and the
S5.
Galaxy S5.
Yeah.
And I liked both of those quite a bit. Um I do really like my Pixel though, the Pixel 2 right now
Mm-hmm.
with the fingerprint sensor. That's really handy, and to like log into my bank account and everything with that. That's super convenient. Also, the cameras are really nice. So I am excited that the Pixel 3's camera is supposed to be even better.
Yeah, we have Pixel 3s on the way.
And so okay, this is something that's also interesting to me is your I don't know if predictions is the right word, but the shift toward the future that a lot of technology like our phones are making. I didn't like the wireless headphones at first,
Mm-hmm.
but that's happened to the Pixel, and has it happened to other major phones?
iPhone was the first notable one
To get rid of the
to get
headphone
rid of the
jack.
headphone jack. And then Samsung or Pixel followed suit shortly after. Samsung still has not done it, and they're using it as a selling point, but eventually they're going to get away with it.
Yeah, at first I didn't like it, but now that I do have a good pair of um, the wireless headphones that
Mm-hmm.
go over the ears and a pair that go in the ears, now I'm a little more
Bluetooth,
accepting.
yeah, Bluetooth. I think it's still a little early for what they're trying to do is pushing this wireless headphones, uh, Bluetooth or USB-C headphones because USB-C headphones almost are non-existent. You can't find them.
But wait, so the Pixel 2 with the USB-C charge port, if there were headphones that had a instead of a headphone jack, that they're making.
Yeah, there's USB-C headphones.
I want more of those. They need to make those because I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
they're
accepting it, but I wouldn't mind being able to plug it in. But then what if they end up taking away all of our ports because they want it to be like a closed thing?
That's very near in the future, I bet.
And they would do wireless charging too, huh?
Yeah.
That's with the Pixel 3.
Pixel 3
coming.
now has a glass back. A lot of phones are now going to the glass back for wireless charging.
Oh, that's
They
I was
used to
gonna
have
ask.
metal backs.
So the glass, I thought the glass back had to do something with reception or
it
signal.
does, yeah. So what you saw was the trend was that over past 10 years or so, even 5 years, a lot of phones were plastic originally, but that was ended up feeling cheap once phones started getting metal rims and metal
turning
things
into
like that.
computers.
Yeah, the plastic started to feel like a cheap phone.
Yeah.
And it was less durable. So then you started getting metal phones, like metal bodies, even unibody metal phones.
What is unibody?
All just one body.
So you
that's
can't
all
open it
giant
to take
metal.
the battery out.
You would well, yeah, that was also another trend. But that was more of slimming down the phone. So people wanted thinner and thinner phones. So in order to do that, they would slim down the battery, and even the connection to the battery had to get slimmed down. So as that got down, they had to make it so that they were no longer just reusable or interchangeable. They were just
part of it closed inside.
And so unibody phones, just like one giant metal back, started becoming very popular. And then and they continued that way for a while, but then eventually they noticed that like the reception was not as good in a metal phone, so you started seeing phones come out with like mostly metal, but it have like a glass top or glass around the camera or things like that, so that they could get in some signal. And even still, now that the wireless is coming, the wireless charging doesn't work through metal. So they needed to change it to glass, and glass kind of now is a premium. It has a premium feel to it. It's durable, and
now we put plastic cases over that.
Yeah, and allows for
we come full circle.
You to do the charging. So eventually they'll get to charging. But back to the headphones. So wireless headphones, it's a little early, I think, that they started doing this, but it's here now. There's no changing that. But what's helping is the fact that Bluetooth is getting better. So I think now with the new Bluetooth 5.1, you can have multiple headphones, or you can have multiple Bluetooth devices connected at the same time, which is very useful, so that you could have, if you're using multiple Bluetooth devices, such as headphones and maybe a Bluetooth accessory,
a mouse or a keyboard.
Or let's say if you're
not if you're a gamer, right?
Yeah, let's say you were like right now, a popular accessory is the Square Reader.
Okay.
If you are like a technician that's out on the field and they need to take a payment, they'll have a Square Reader with them, which is a Bluetooth reader. And but if you have headphones, you have to switch between the Bluetooth reader and the headphones on the phone, because only one device can be paired at a time. As the adoption of the Bluetooth 5.1 rolls out, you'll have less of those problems. You could have multiple things connected at the same time, allowing you to connect.
So this is probably going to sound dumb. I didn't even realize there were different versions of Bluetooth.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Everything like Bluetooth is getting updated all the time, just like anything else.
Okay.
So yeah,
Part of the software updates.
yeah, just like
that just
USB is being updated all the time.
Is it?
Yeah, like USB-C is only the past year been very popular, but it's actually been
But
out
the
for a while.
software, is the software for USB how it transfers information or something changing? Or is that like
I'm
for
sure that
Bluetooth
is,
more
but
what you're
like
talking?
no, the USB right now, a lot of the USB is the physical aspects, but yeah, there's software aspects that also are firmware aspects that are also
Okay.
being updated. But right now, USB-C is technically USB 3.1.
Okay, so hardware are the physical pieces, the matter.
Mm-hmm.
Software is the program, the code, the stuff that executes stuff. What
Mhm.
is firmware?
Firmware is the hard-coded. It's essentially the uh, telling the wiring what to do, if there's a layman's term for it. So let's say, so if you have a processor on a phone, that processor is hardware. It's physical hardware, but that processor doesn't know what to do until you give it firmware that tells it what to do.
Okay.
So it's hardwired into the processor
So
that can't change via software or anything like that.
it's sort of like a body would be hardware, and then your body's like the DNA inside the cells of your body that tell all the different things to do what they need to do. That's the firmware,
Mhm.
and then software is like what you choose, the applications.
Yeah, if you would think of your brain as the operating system that's running the software, and then
Okay,
your
yeah.
cells being the firmware to the rest of your body,
Okay. Okay.
or the DNA being the firmware to the cells.
Okay.
However deep you want to go into it.
That makes more sense. I just wasn't sure what firmware was, but now I forgot. I'm